One thing that we see over and over again in the Bible is how little human nature has changed from the time that the Bible was written until now. Do you remember the story of the Good Samaritan in Luke 10? Do you remember what preceded Jesus telling that story? It was the question by a man who was an expert in the law who asked Jesus, what was the greatest commandment? And Jesus basically turned the question back to him to ask him what he thought the answer was. And the man in Luke 10, verse 27 says, you shall love the Lord your God with all your heart, with all your soul, with all your strength, and with all your mind, and your neighbor as yourself. And Jesus said, you've answered correctly. Do this, and you will have eternal life. And the man then kind of came back at Jesus and said, who is my neighbor? And the Bible tells us what his motive was in asking that question. In Luke 10:29, it says, wishing to justify himself, he asked, who is my neighbor? And Jesus went on to tell that parable of the Good Samaritan, of the man who was beaten and injured on the road, and how the religious leaders came by but walked away. And then this man who was a Samaritan, who was the enemy of the man on the road, he stopped, he took care of him, he paid for him to be taken care of. And Jesus asked at the end, which one of these was the one who was his neighbor? And the man answered, the one who showed mercy to him. And Jesus said, go and do the same. And basically, I think often we try to justify our inaction toward the poor, toward those who are under-resourced, toward those who are in need in a variety of ways, by saying, they're not our neighbor. We don't have, we can't really affect what's happening way over there. I think Jesus' answer to this man puts it back right on our doorstep. And what Jesus is saying to us is, the people that you come across, the people who I place in your sphere of contact, those are the people that you need to love when I'm talking about love your neighbor as yourself. Those are the people that you need to reach out to. Those are the people that you need to resource. Those are the people that you need to look for needs and meet. So let's not be like that expert in the law who was seeking to justify himself by kind of saying, how can I love my neighbor when I don't even know who they are? Let's take Jesus' words to heart. And those people who we come across in our day-to-day lives, the people that God has put right in front of us, let's start there. Let's show them that we love God by how we love them. And then we move out into the broader world. And in the world that we live in today, there really are lots of people who can be our neighbor because we have the means to meet their needs, even if they're not right in front of us. But let's start where we live. Let's start in our community. Let's start with the people you work with. Let's start with the people in your neighborhood. Let's start with the people whose paths you cross to show God's love to them today.